David Guetta fait chanter les stars, il fait aussi danser les foules.
Toujours est-il que Get Lucky, le nouveau single des Daft Punk, reste le titre le plus écouté.
And the king of dubstep, Skrillex, swept all 3 EDM awards.
Hi, this is Tim Berg. I'm a Swedish house producer.
DJ Afrojack is een van de bekendste Nederlanders ter wereld van dit moment.
There's only so much stuff you can do actually live with electronic music. And that's just the nature of electronic music, you know what I mean?
What first got me into DJing and dance music, I remember when I was younger, like watching like Snap Rhythm as a Dancer on MTV, and I just loved dance music from the word go when I was really young, and I just kind of started listening to like Judge Jules on Radio 1, and then I used to go to Ibiza, like with I still go, but I used to go with my friends when I was like 16, and the first kind of holiday without the parents, you know, going clubbing, and just watching these DJs up on those big platforms and these massive nightclubs, I was just like, wow, I want to do that one day. So when I came back in 2001, like I said to my parents, I was like, I really want a set of decks for Christmas, and they were like, okay, no problem, we'll get you that if that's what you really want, and if you're going to use them, we'll get you them. So they got me a set of Newmark belt drive DJ in a Box package, which was 2 belt drive decks, and then you got like a wee 2-channel mixer, and then you had to just put your own speaker, and you got a wee pair of headphones. So just started buying vinyls from there, and then eventually upgraded in 2008 to the CDJs, which is the way things are going now, as well as computer systems. So I decided to upgrade to that and just never look back.
A good DJ is someone who pays attention to the crowd. Like, you might not always be playing to like one genre. You might be playing to different people, different age groups, so you really need to pay attention to who's wanting what.
You know, nightclub scenes, I see the nightclub scenes my bread and butter. I mean, I prefer nightclubs, don't get me wrong, playing a festival is fantastic, to playing out to maybe say a set 1,000 people, or you know, and you get to be specialised and say, right, for an hour I'm going to absolutely, this is going to be rocking the full entire hour. Nightclub scenes, I prefer them because you get like a wee mini, cliche saying this, but a wee journey with them, and you get to realise how the crowds react every single week. You know, with festivals, it's all boom, 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 boom. With nightclubs, it's different, but it's better for me.
Maybe the latter kind of years, it was all associated with like the drug culture and like ravers and all this kind of stuff, and it did get quite a bad press, but I would say nowadays it's more and more, well, it's becoming a lot more mainstream, because like obviously Radio 1 and all your other kind of network radio stations, they're all playing dance every single day. You turn on any radio station and you will hear Swedish House Mafia, you'll hear Calvin Harris, you'll hear Example, David Guetta, you'll hear them all, and like it's quite unusual, because before you just wouldn't have heard that on Radio 1. It was all kind of indie pop, you know, but it's becoming a lot more mainstream, and even some of the underground tracks are breaking through onto Radio 1 and things like that, so it's quite good.
I'd say the dance music industry is really, I think it's underrated in some people, because they don't understand all the different sort of subgenres of dance music. They'll hear it in clubs, but they don't know, they say that's electro, that's trance. They just kind of put everything as dance music, and they can't distinguish between different genres.
You've got different people, you've got a lot of people that plan out what they're going to do in their house. You've got, you know, they sit down and they'll write out, you know, if you've got a specialised gig, like you're going to warm up for someone massive, you would physically plan out every song, complete order. With sometimes it's good to know, you know, writing down a couple records, knowing that you want to play them that night because you want to hear how it reacts. However, it's good to be on your toes and see how the night goes. and how quickly you can go from, right, okay, this isn't working at this moment in time. Rather than if you've got a set out plan list, you could have 6 more songs to play, and it's nobody's enjoying it. So you've got to be very flexible and say, right, I need to get out of this into this. I need to try and bring the crowd back.
I think there's a lot of DJs who do party all the time, and there's a lot of DJs who don't. You know, it's the same as any other industry, I guess. Like footballers, they go out and party, but then they've got to have their head switched on for going to the game. You know, so I would just say that everyone parties as much as everyone else.
I say they're the ones who are doing the big anthems tunes that are going to last. Like they're the summer tunes that everyone's going to love and going to want to hear at concerts. So the big DJs like Tiesto and all that are the ones who are putting the music that's setting the trends really for all clubs and stuff like that.
I perceive them as, some people say some of them sold out because they've went in a crossover from electronic music became into pop music as well. Some people say they've sold out. I don't think they've sold out. I think they're very much, they're just trying to take their music to the next level. I think they've got to try and do it differently, because back in the day people used to buy CDs and records and stuff. Now you don't. The majority of people illegally download music. So these guys have got to try and make money for a living, let's face it. And there's a lot of big name DJs that you think are paid masses, but they don't get big money because their song they've had to release on SoundCloud, or trying to get their name out. If the big song they've been given out for free because they're trying to get people to hear them, they might get paid okay for gigs, but that'll not last forever.
There's a lot of these rumours that go about people who push buttons and things like that, and you know what, if people want to say that, then fine, but and if people want to do that, leave them to it. But if I don't agree with it personally, because I don't believe going up on stage and just pushing a button and pretending you're putting together a set is fair. Like, but for things I can understand, like I went to see the Swedish House Mafia in Milton Keynes, and they get a lot of stick for this, right? And I'll stick up for them because I'm a very big fan of the Swedish House Mafia, and in their sets they use quite a lot of kind of fireworks, pyrotechnics, explosions, cannons, like things like that. So they've got to have their set worked out down to a T, because these timings are really crucial for these things going off, because if they go off at the wrong moment, then things could go wrong, you know. So for these bigger kind of stage kind of huge audience kind of things, I think it's essential for these things to be worked out. And at the end of the day, I had the best time of my life down at Milton Keynes, and that's what I paid for. I paid to be entertained, and I was entertained, so I got my money's worth, you know. But I don't agree with going to like maybe a wee club in Ibiza or something to see a DJ and they fake it there. Like, I think that's out of order. Like, they should be playing like a full set as every other DJ's got to do.
I think they don't always understand how much work is put into DJing. A lot of them. I remember one time I was at a gig and basically time was up. I was at a pub and folk wanted to leave, so I packed up my stuff and they said, "Oh, we'll keep DJing people in the audience." So I was like, "Give it a crack," and they couldn't figure out how to work the software to start with. And then when they turned off the switch for the power, they couldn't figure out how to turn the switch back on. So.
A song that I've been like, oh my god, I've had to follow it with another big record or something, but sometimes I've done it with Avicii's Levels before it became big. I genuinely remember when it hit the Etta James sample, people were looking at me, and I had a friend of mine in the DJ box at the time, and he was like, oh, what's happening here? This song's brilliant, but why are people not? And they just cleared, and I followed it up with something, like the Black Eyed Peas at the time, I can't even remember, and they came back. Whether it be, sometimes you've got to accept that they don't want to be cutting edge, and sometimes they don't like a record until they're told that they're told that they like the record.
I perceive like the bigger kind of DJs as being kind of like, they're kind of like the new rock stars in a way, because people kind of idolise them. And see, when you go to like clubs, people are waiting by the speakers to get their autograph, get pictures, catch their towel when they throw it into the state and in the crowd, things like that, you know. So these people are like idols for the fans that go along to all their gigs. It's just as the same as going to like a a rock gig or a pop gig. You know, you're paying your ticket to go see these DJs and you want to be entertained, and that's what they're doing. So yeah, I would say that they are the new rock stars.
Not long ago I went to see Fatboy songs like that. I was wanting to see what he was doing, to see if it was cutting edge, because you know he's been, in my eyes, he's been like an inspiration. I normally try and listen to see what they're doing, if they're mixing live. I mean, I went and seen Swedish House Mafia, and their set was the exact same as what I'd read online that they were going to play in the exact same order. So I didn't know if it was. I don't pick up on anyone's flaws, because you know, at the end of the day, that people are up there, people do make mistakes in their job. Sometimes it's worse when DJs are in and you make a mistake, because instantly they pinpoint it, they know, oh, he's just kicked out, oh, let's laugh at him. When you don't realise, you know, they've probably done it a million times.
Well, DJ community is usually quite helpful with each other. I mean, you might think, oh, that DJ's, he's taking up my turf, whatever, he's stealing my clubs, whatever, and he's taking up all my time that I should be getting. But DJs are really helpful with each other. I mean, when I was starting out, I asked a DJ for advice and tips, and he's telling me, well, I wanted to get DJ turntables because I wanted to get into turntablism, but he said no, CD turntables are the way to go. And he was telling me about where he's DJ'd, where good places to look out for, where he's DJ'd or still DJing, which I thought was really helpful. And there's loads of forums online, places that you can talk to other DJs, and people are always playing other DJs' tunes, like Tiesto and Fede the Grand and stuff like that are always doing like radio shows, and they're playing other DJs' tunes on their own shows.
I don't agree with people who say that music made by a computer is not real music. I think if it makes people dance, then it's music, because it's got a rhythm, it's got a beat. It doesn't matter how you've composed it, it's still a tune.
Kind of think that sometimes some clubs understand what you're doing. You've got a lot of people that know what you're doing, you've got a lot of people that don't really care what you're doing as long as you're doing good records and having a good night. I think some of them perceive that you're doing something, like, you know, the transaction between a record can be queuing up a song, so say that's queuing up a record can be 30 seconds or whatever, and then mixing a record, if it's, you know, house music, it could be a minute, you know, for the intro, for the outro to the intro. So they kind of understand. Sometimes they think that when you're deep in a mix or whatever, and you've got, you know, monitors or headphones, they think it's like the prod in the back of that, and you can stand there and talk to them, but you can end up having a car crash because the song can kick out in one bit and you're too busy listening to the girl ask for a certain song. It's just, I think sometimes you perceive that you don't really do anything, you're just up there pressing two big green buttons.
In general, yeah, most of the UK is really up to date with like dance music and all that today, because just the internet, music spreads. I mean, I look at the charts and I'll see like the top #1 song, and I've maybe seen that a couple of weeks ago on YouTube. People have heard it before it gets to #1 because everyone's looking at it, and it's got 20 million views before it hits that #1 spot because everyone's seen it, like over the internet.
Practice. For a new DJ starting out, you've got to really knuckle down, learn your kind of tunes, work out what style you want to play, and the best thing to do is study things like, how I learned, I actually taught myself how to DJ. So I used to look at things like the Miniature Sound compilations back then, and I used to like buy those songs and then try and mix it myself, you know, to sound like the CD like I just bought, you know, because it all comes pre-mixed. So I would try to kind of copy that, you know, to kind of get like learning beat matching and things like that. Or I would like go on to like the Beatport Top 100 and like study like my favourite songs and see favourite artists, things like that. And then you soon discover you've got a style. And then once you've got that, you've just got to kind of practice, and practice is key, because if you don't practice, you're not going to get the gigs. So you need to just knuckle down and do it.
Patience. Everybody wants straight away. I get loads of little guys that want taught and stuff. I say, I don't mind teaching someone, but then after teaching someone 2 weeks, they're like, right, I want to play a Saturday night. It doesn't work like that. You have to learn your trade at any job, whether it be, you're kind of like an apprentice for a while. You've got to be able to realise you can't just jump straight on and play the biggest songs, and that's what everybody wants to do when they're learning. Just I'd say the biggest thing for me is patience. Make sure you download good quality music. You don't illegally download music, you download good quality music. It might cost you more money, but if you're passionate about it, it'll pay dividends in the end.
Starting out, I just really, there's a lot of things you can do to start out DJing. I think the main thing is just to really listen to music you enjoy and then play that for other people, and if they like what you're playing, then you'll be like, alright, I'll try doing something else with it, I'll try mixing it in with this tune, and then people give you good feedback.